What's up, everybody? Shootout day here at Rock and Groove. We're going to be digging into Klon clones. Welcome back to Rock and Groove, everyone. Your one-stop shop for all things guitar. Jay here, and today we're going to be doing something very special. I happen to get my hands on a Klon KTR, and we're going to be doing a shootout between the Klon clones. Now, of course, this is not an original Klon. I want to talk about that in just a second and introduce the other two pedals that we're going to be doing a shootout with. First things first, let's talk about the Klon. I'm not going to go into a deep history lesson with this pedal or anything like that, but I do want to go into talking about a little bit of how it works. Right here we have the Klon KTR. The original Centaur was built between 1990 and 94, and it was legendary. Everybody loved it. Now, if you're willing to drop a cool $2,500, $3,000, you can get your hands on one. But most people are not willing to do that, nor can they do that. This is the Klon KTR, put out by Bill Finnegan in 2014, and it is nearly identical. However, there are a few different changes inside of this, but it's still, this pedal sounds amazing. Now, if you can get your hands on one of these puppies, you're going to be pushing around $350, $400. I've even seen them for $450. Even some have said they've seen them for $500. Still, this is a lot of money to drop on a pedal. So a lot of people aren't willing to do that, nor can they do that. It doesn't matter if it's $500 or if it's $2,500 for a Centaur. A lot of folks are not going to drop that kind of money on one of these right here. So what we want to do is see, if I didn't get this, but I still wanted the sound, can one of the clones still really give me that tone? And can I even tell? And if I'm even up on a stage playing, can anybody even tell that I'm even playing a Klon in the first place, much less a clone? So let's take a look at that right there. All right, here we are. Here's the KTR, has your basic 3 knobs, your volume, your gain, and your treble, or your tone, however you want to say it there. And that's what we have up here. Very simple. This thing can really growl. It's simple, and that's it right there. We do have the slip on the side here where it clearly says almost always better, almost always worse. We're keeping it on the better the whole time. Not going to go deep into that. Just a basic sound of this pedal right here. Next up, Electro Harmonix Soul Food pedal. This thing, just like the Klon, built solid like a rock. It's got your 3 knobs at the top, a volume, your drive, and your treble right there. Basic. Same thing right there. Next is something a lot of folks may or may not have seen. There are a lot of cheap clones for the Klon out there, but I ended up grabbing this right here. This is the Mosky Golden Horse. Very interesting. First off, that you see that it seems to be a Centaur on the front throwing an axe like a javelin, which is very interesting. Also, when I purchased this for 30 bucks, by the way, I purchased a Mosky Golden Horse, but instead I got a Muslady, which I assume is the same company. I don't know. Whatever, it was $30. So, is this thing worth it? Does it really matter? Or should I just go ahead and drop a little bit more and get myself a Soul Food here? Or should I just throw both of them in the trash and stick with getting the Klon KTR? I'm going to be running this through my Vox AC15. I'm going to be using a TC Electronics Ditto looper to keep it going while I get down and I tweak with each one of the knobs individually. Pay attention to the captions. They will explain different things I notice, and a little bit of observations as we go. And then stick around for my final thoughts. Let's get to it. so what are my final thoughts? I think they're all awesome. Of course, we can talk about the KTR all day. This thing is awesome. It really growls. It has a wonderful, clean, transparent tone. And that's something a lot of folks may hear that's a kind of a buzz phrase, a transparent overdrive. And just think of it this way. When you're dealing with a transparent overdrive, you're dealing really with how the pedal adds to the signal without altering the signal. And you may have noticed there may have been some distortion or overdrive pedals that you know that when you click it on, it just completely changes it. And it doesn't matter what kind of guitar you have plugged in, it doesn't matter really what kind of amp you're getting, you're going to get the same sound no matter what. This being, and all of them I feel like, are transparent in the sense that you can still hear the guitar and you can still hear the amp coming through, and the pedal changes and alters the signal very subtly to where it is still the amp, it's still the guitar that you're getting with breakup. So of course, this being a transparent overdrive, it's amazing. It sounds wonderful. It almost sounds like at times like there's another guitar playing right on top of it, because it just really brings out all the nuances you have when you barely tap another string, or when you rake across harder across some of the strings and others. It really brings it all out. And so just the transparency in that sense is amazing with this pedal. So without more about that, this pedal is amazing. But the big question is, as always, is I don't have $400 to drop on this. Or say I do and I really don't want to drop $400 on a guitar pedal. Is it worth it? Can I find something else? And as you just heard, I think you can. I think you can find some really good tones out there without dropping the money, unless you really just want to see, or others to see, this setting on top of your pedal board like a king on a throne, then go for it. Otherwise, there are a lot of other things. Now, for the Electro-Harmonic Soul Food, I think this thing sounds amazing. I think it has a little more mid-range in there. If I'm really trying to be picky, and that's not a bad thing, I think it's really awesome. This pedal sounds amazing. The volume in this is a lot more comparable to the volume in here. And I was noticing that when I was clicking through, these volumes were really good. If I had to do any kind of volume adjustment, it had to be to the Golden Horse. It was a little bit lower, a little bit softer, but this thing really kicked and it sounded really, really nice. Like I said, if I was looking for something to push a little bit more mid-range, I was getting it with this more than I felt like I was with the Klon. There was a lot of dynamics to it, a lot of focus, a lot of transparency. Though, so this, for around $100, is still an amazing pedal, a really, really good pedal, a good investment. And then the final pedal was the Golden Horse. And what do you think? I thought this thing was awesome. For 30 bucks, stacking up against something that was $350, $400, this thing kicked some serious butt. It sounded great. I really like the fact that I could turn the gain down and it's really come across as a nice clean boost. Even some of my other budget pedals, when I dropped the gain down, it really affected the tone. I think there's a sweet spot for any kind of pedal that you play, and this one had a lot to it. It sounded great with the gain down, boosting the clean, really soft, just a subtle breath of overdrive on it. But the more I cranked it up, it sounded amazing. Of course, like I said, I think there was a sweet spot. I think there's a sweet spot with any of the clones anyway, because when you really crank the gain all the way up, it's just, I don't think it's really made for that necessarily, in my opinion. It doesn't feel really good there. I like to dial it back maybe to about a 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, maybe between a noon and a 2 o'clock, and it sounds awesome. That's a sweet spot to me from what I'm looking for playing. But man, this thing really rocked. It sounded great. The treble, the tone knobs, because I have some pedals where the tone knobs just seem like they're there for you to play with, make you think you have some kind of control. This thing really did adjust and move really well in that area, and it really adjusted the tone. And I could say that about the Soul Food as well, and I could say that obviously about the Klon. What do you think? If you think I'm crazy, if you think this stuff sounds awesome, if you think this thing sounded like garbage, this was the best, or this was not worth the money, I don't know, you tell us. Let's talk about it. Tell us down in the comments, like and subscribe. Let us know what you think. Share the video. Check us out on Instagram. Check us out. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. And as always, have fun.